Well, welcome back, Merc Nation, to the Merc Method. I'm your host, Eric, as always, and I am so happy for you to be here today. If this is your first time, welcome to the podcast. If it's not, welcome back. I appreciate all of you for tuning in to the episode today. So before I actually start this podcast about people pleasing, I wanted to just plug someone. I wanted to talk about Amanda Rose real quick. So Amanda Rose is a coach, an educator, a mentor, and an author. She has a following on TikTok. This is how I actually found her, where she talks a lot about the same things that the Merc method does, where you're using a lot of struggles and a lot of pain that you've gone through to really find your purpose. And the following that she has in this group are amazing individuals that have no judgment whatsoever and really are just looking for more good people with kind hearts that want to join the group and just listen and interact because there's so many of us, but we just don't know where those outlets are. So I wanted to just kind of share that with everyone on this podcast today. She has a book out too that's called Gratitude is the Attitude. Go check it out. I bought it. It's an amazing journal to get. It's on Amazon. It's just trying to get the same kind of message out where you are an amazing individual and you're just trying to find your purpose and your true you. So she really has a lot of the same things, again, like the Merc method does. So I thought I would just share that with you guys. So go check her out. All right. So back to the topic at hand of people pleasing. So I have to admit, I'm a huge people pleaser. And I'm working on trying to really dial that down a little bit because I've understood that people pleasing doesn't actually help me at all. Because a lot of times I'm doing these things for other individuals that really don't care about my worth. They just want something from me. And then when I give that to them, they're done. We're out, and it's on to the next person. And I know that you don't really need the definition of people pleasing, but basically what it is, it's a behavioral pattern where, individuals consistently prioritize the needs and desires of other people over their own, often at the expense of, their personal well-being. Typically, people pleasers are looking for that validation and approval. I do that constantly, and a lot of reasons why I do that is because I didn't get a lot of that growing up from certain people that I thought I would get it from. And while it looks like kindness or generosity, people pleasing stems from a place of obligation and really anxiety, which leads to potential issues like burnout because you're giving so much to other people, but you're not getting anything back. You're not filling up your tank. And then you get that resentment and you actually lose like your identity as well. They say that people pleasing often comes from like deep seated fears, like the fear of rejection, abandonment, conflict. And it's frequently rooted in childhood experiences like trauma and neglect, which then leads to the belief that, you're not worth anything unless you get an approval. People pleasing looks like that idea of never saying no or having a really hard time setting boundaries. You have that excessive guilt when you make a mistake or when someone's expectations aren't met. I mean, these sound like, Eric's checklist where you just look to be the healer or the fixer because of what has happened and you're trying to find that approval and that validation from other people. People pleasing is one of those things that sounds kind on the surface. It sounds generous. It sounds loving. You feel like you're doing a great thing. But a lot of the time, it isn't really about kind at all. It's about being scared of losing those people, scared of disappointing someone you love, someone that you're really trying to, get attention from, scared of being too much or really not enough. Somewhere along the way, a lot of us learned that being agreeable was the safest way to survive. If I make everyone else happy, maybe I won't get left. Maybe they won't forget about me. Maybe I won't get rejected. maybe I won't get hurt. So, with all of that, we learned how to read the room before we learned how to read ourselves. And what's crazy wild about it is how early this starts. A lot of people pleasers grew up in homes and environments where, your love felt conditional. You were noticed when you were performing or doing your best in certain situations, so your nervous system wired itself to believe that that connection comes from compliance. Your brain wired you that way. That if someone around you is upset, it must be your job to fix it. Must be on you. So now, as an adult, when someone's disappointed or uncomfortable or unhappy, your body reacts like you're in danger. And not necessarily emotionally, but physically. Your chest tightens, your thoughts start to race, your brain, you just can't stop. You rush to try to smooth it over, even when it wasn't yours that you were carrying. I tell that to everyone. You can't carry bags that aren't yours. You get too much anxiety from things that aren't in your control. So when this happens, you become the one who always says yes. You ever notice that you're sitting there and somebody asks you to do something and you still don't want to do it and you just kind of go, sure. I guarantee you half of the people listening at least can relate to that. Now you're the one who never wants to be a burden, the one who shows up for everyone else even when you're running on empty. You continuously apologize for things that aren't your fault. You actually start to over explain your boundaries. You say it's fine when it absolutely is not. Does this sound like you? And the world rewards you for it. You get called dependable, selfless, easy to work with, a good friend, a good partner, a good employee. Everybody's like, oh, Eric will do it. He's so nice, he'll do it. Yes, Eric is nice and will help you. But Eric also has problems with boundaries and saying no to people. And nobody's really asking you what this costs you. Nobody sees the emotional overdraft happening quietly in your life. Because over time, people pleasing starts to take pieces of you. It's a slow burn, it's not all at once. You stop checking in with what you actually want. You stop trusting your gut. You stop naming your needs. You're losing your identity. You start living for everyone else's comfort instead of your own peace. It's going to make you sick. And one day you wake up and realize you've been available to everyone in your life except yourself. Stop it. You're tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. You're drained in a way coffee doesn't touch. You can't drink enough Red Bulls to wake up. Or bubblers, what everybody's drinking. But still, you keep showing up. You keep smiling. You're wearing a mask. You're still carrying what isn't yours. You need to drop these bags. Here's something I want to say really gently because a lot of people need to hear it. And I know a lot of people don't like conflict, but it's honest truth. Not every emotion in the room belongs to you. You are not responsible for fixing how everyone else feels. I have to continuously say this to myself. I sit in a room and I'm like, okay, I can fix you. I can fix you. How do I know that? I don't know that. I feel it because I want to help every single person possible. But then at what cost? You are allowed to let people be uncomfortable. You're allowed to let those same people be disappointed. People's opinions of you are none of our business. And remember, setting boundaries doesn't make you unkind, it makes you honest. It's just you finally saying, this is where I end and you begin. And I know that can be scary because when you've been people pleasing for so long, you don't want people to be mad at you. You don't want to disappoint them which then will feel like disappointment for yourself. Because when you've spent your whole life earning love by being useful, it feels dangerous to stop performing. It feels wrong when you rest without having somebody else's permission to do that. It almost feels selfish to say no. But the truth is, your worth has never been measured by your usefulness. You don't need to earn any of this rest. You don't need to bleed to be loved. You don't need to disappear to be accepted. I always thought, to be fair, I wanted to do some tests. I love experiments. Sometimes when I disappear, I want to see who shows up. I want to see who checks in. Who's really checking in on you when you just seem to disappear? Gets super quiet, doesn't it? But again, those are not your people. All right, so look at it this way. So maybe the work isn't about becoming someone new. Maybe it's about unlearning the idea that you only matter when you're needed. Maybe it's about pausing before you say yes, letting silence happen, asking yourself, do I actually want to do this, or am I just scared of what happens if I don't? Maybe it's about letting other people sit with their own emotions instead of rushing in to rescue them. Let them try to figure it out first. I mean, that's what we're trying to do with ourselves. We're trying to figure it out for ourselves first before we react. I want you to know something. Choosing yourself isn't loud. It can be quiet. It can be like small moments where you tell the truth instead of trying to smooth it over. It looks like saying no without a speech. You don't have to explain why you're not doing what you're going to do. It's like resting without guilt. How about listening to your body instead of overriding it? You don't owe the world your exhaustion. You owe yourself your life, the one life you have for the purpose you have. And if no one's told you lately, let me be the one to say it. You are already enough. Even when you're not performing, fixing something, or holding everything together. You are enough. You always have been, and you always will be. So now that we've talked a little bit about people pleasing and where it comes from and what it is and how it feels, let's talk about how you actually start loosening your grip a little bit. And I don't mean flipping your personality overnight. That's not how it works. It's a process. It's not a race. You don't go from yes to everything to no to everyone. You'd give yourself anxiety. This is the quiet work, okay? Subtle work, nervous system work, that hardcore work. It's about building safety inside yourself instead of borrowing it from other people. Okay, the first thing I want you to practice is something really simple, but really powerful. Pause. Just pause. People pleasers are fast responders. We can't wait to fix something. We say yes before we even check in with ourselves. So the next time someone asks you for something, try this instead of answering right away. Take a breath and say, let me think about that and get back to you. That one sentence creates space between their request and your automatic response. And in that space, you get to ask yourself, do I actually want to do this or am I just afraid of saying no? Another thing that helps is learning to separate the discomfort from the danger. A lot of us treat those two things like they're the same for some reason. Someone's upset, we feel like something terrible is about to happen. And most of the time, when you're feeling it isn't danger, it's just discomfort. Someone else's disappointment won't destroy you, someone else's frustration won't end your life. Your nervous system might light up a little bit, but that's old wiring. You're safe now. You're allowed to let people have reactions without rescuing them from their reactions. A big part of this work is also learning how to say no without over explaining. Man, I'm really bad at that because I feel people need an explanation when I say no. They don't. People pleasers turn no into a whole paragraph. I think mine's like an 8-page homework assignment. We always apologize. We always try to justify it. We try to soften it. But you don't owe anyone a story every time you protect your energy. Sometimes I can't do that is enough. Sometimes that doesn't work for me is enough. You don't need to convince people to respect you. The right people already do. That's where all your energy goes. You're giving your energy to people that don't actually respect you. Another gentle shift is checking in with your body instead of your fear. Before you agree to something, notice what your body does. Do you tighten up? Do you feel heavy? Does that anxiousness just kick in? Do you get like the chills and the sweats? Or do you feel open and grounded and willing and your heart's like soften and you feel great about what they asked you to do because you are now filling your cup back up too as well. Your body usually tells you the truth before your mind does. People pleasing trains you to ignore those signals. The work is about learning how to listen again. Listen to your body. It never lies. You can start practicing letting people feel their feelings. This one for me is a big one. If someone's sad, mad, disappointed, or stressed, you don't always need to fix it. I tend to jump in before I need to. That's just the fixer in me. That's the healer in me. That's the therapist in me, the counseling in me. That's what I've been wired for the last 6 years. But sometimes people don't need that. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is just let them have their experience. They know where you are. You're not responsible for regulating everyone else's emotions. You're responsible for taking care of your own. I'll make a note of it. Another tip is to notice when resentment is showing up in your life. Resentment is often the smoke from the fire of people pleasing. If you're constantly annoyed, if you're pissed all the time, you're drained, ask where it's coming from. Where am I saying yes when I mean to say no? This resentment isn't a character flaw, okay? It's information. You're learning. It's your inner self trying to get your attention. Like, hey, pay attention to this. This isn't working. I want you to start practicing something that might feel strange at first, especially for people pleasers. Choosing yourself in small, quiet ways. You don't have to announce it. Nobody needs to see it. You don't have to post about it. I kind of do that sometimes, but I'm also trying to help people understand the same concepts too. It might look like going home instead of staying late, saying no to a plan you don't have the energy for. Somebody asks you to do something and you've been just working your butt off all day, quietly say no. Resting without earning it. Just really letting yourself take up space in your own life. Unlearning people pleasing isn't about becoming harder. It's about becoming truer to yourself. It's not about caring less. It's about caring honestly. It's about letting your yes mean yes and your no mean no. And if you slip sometimes, and you will, that doesn't mean you're failing. I say that's falling forward. That's still progress. It means you're human. And through this progress, you're rewiring patterns that kept you safe once. Be gentle with yourself. It's a process, not a race. Growth doesn't need to be aggressive to be real. You're not here to live on autopilot. You're here to live on purpose. And every time you choose yourself without guilt, you take one step back into your own life, the life you deserve. All right, before we wrap this up, I just want to say this, okay? If you've been listening to this and realizing how much of yourself you've given away over the years, I hope you're not judging yourself. I hope you're seeing yourself with compassion now. People pleasing doesn't come from weakness, it came from wisdom. It came from learning how to survive in environments where love felt uncertain, okay? You did what you had to do to stay connected. And that deserves gentleness, not your shame. You don't have to fix everything tonight. You don't have to change your whole life tomorrow. Growth doesn't happen in those big dramatic moments. I always say they're in the little wins. We pocket those little wins. It's in the quiet choices, in the small pauses. It's in the honest breaths we take. In the moments where you decide, I matter too. Say it to yourself. Because you do matter. So as you go back into your life after this episode, I want you to carry this with you. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to have those needs. You are certainly allowed to rest without guilt. And you are allowed to say no and still be a good person. Let other people feel what they feel. Let yourself feel what you feel. And trust that you don't have to disappear to be loved. You don't owe the world your exhaustion. You owe yourself your life. I want to thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for doing the brave, quiet work of becoming more honest with yourself. And thank you for being a part of this space, this Merck method we're building together. Take a breath with me before you go. Okay? Inhale. Hold. Exhale. I'm proud of you. All right, so when I leave you always, I always leave you with this. Stay grounded. Stay kind to yourself. And remember, strength begins with honesty. Until next time.